Welcome to Heartline Stories. Today's story follows a young woman, Lily, who is forced to choose between a life of wealth and the freedom to live her own way. When Lily decides to escape her controlling family, she faces a tough decision that could cost her everything. But the shocking twist that comes next will leave you stunned. How will she handle the challenges ahead? Can she truly escape the shadows of her past? Watch till the end to find out. Let us know where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Once upon a time, there was a wealthy millionaire named Mr. Jacob Peterson. He lived in a huge mansion on the edge of town with his son, Adam, who was a quiet and lonely boy. Adam's mother had passed away when he was very young, and ever since, he had struggled to connect with people. He didn't have many friends, and his father was often busy with work. One day, Jacob decided to hire a maid. But this would be no ordinary maid. Jacob wanted someone who could help his son feel less lonely and maybe even become a friend to him. He was looking for someone kind, gentle, and patient. After a long search, Jacob finally hired a young woman named Lily. She was quiet, kind-hearted, and had a unique ability. She was mute. Lily communicated through signs and expressions, and Jacob thought she might be a good fit for Adam. When Lily first arrived at the mansion, Adam was unsure. He had never met anyone like her before. He thought it was strange that she didn't speak, but he also felt something different about her. She didn't try to talk over him or ask too many questions. She simply smiled and started cleaning the house. Days went by, and something amazing started to happen. Lily would spend time with Adam, not speaking a word, but showing him how to play board games, draw pictures, and even build forts. At first, Adam was a little shy around her, but he soon realized that he felt more comfortable with Lily than with anyone else. She didn't judge him, and she was always kind, never rushing him. One afternoon, while Adam and Lily were sitting on the couch playing a game of chess, something strange happened. Adam looked up at Lily and noticed something he hadn't seen before. There was a faint scar on her wrist, and it seemed like it had been there for a long time. Curious, Adam asked her, "How did you get that scar?" Lily smiled softly and pointed to her heart. Then she drew a heart shape in the air with her finger. Adam didn't fully understand at first, but he could tell that the scar was part of a deeper story. She looked at him with gentle eyes, and for the first time, Adam felt like he wasn't the only one with a story to tell. Lily's presence in their home was changing things. Adam started to open up more, even trying to speak more often. Jacob noticed how much happier his son seemed, and he was thankful that Lily had come into their lives. But what Jacob didn't know was that Lily wasn't just a maid. She wasn't just someone hired to clean the house and take care of the chores. There was something mysterious about her past that no one knew. Yet, one evening Jacob came home from work earlier than usual. He walked through the front door and was shocked by what he saw. Lily and Adam were sitting together at the table, laughing quietly. But this wasn't the shock. It was the letter on the table in front of them. The letter was written in a beautiful, elegant handwriting. It looked important, almost like an official letter. Jacob couldn't help but feel his heart race. He asked, "What is this, Lily?" Lily's face turned pale. She quickly grabbed the letter and tucked it in her bag. Her eyes darted nervously toward Adam and then back at Jacob. There was something about this letter that made Jacob uneasy, but Lily wouldn't say a word. Jacob wasn't sure what was going on, but he could tell that this letter had something to do with Lily's past. He had no idea how it connected to the quiet maid who had come into their lives to help his son. Just then, Adam looked up at his father. "Dad," he said slowly, "Lily is more than just a maid." Jacob raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean, Adam?" Adam looked back at Lily and then whispered, "She's not who she seems." Jacob stared at them both, unsure of what to make of it. The mystery of the letter, the scar, and the unusual bond between Lily and Adam was only just beginning to unfold. What was the secret in the letter? And what did Adam mean when he said that Lily wasn't who she seemed? Jacob's curiosity was growing, and he couldn't shake the feeling that there was a lot more to Lily than he had ever imagined. The peaceful life they had come to know in the mansion was about to be turned upside down, and Jacob was eager to find out the truth. As Jacob stood there, his mind racing with questions, Lily's silence was almost deafening. She sat there, her fingers trembling as she tried to keep the letter hidden. Jacob had known Lily for a few months now, and up until this point, she had been nothing but kind and helpful. But now something was off. Why had she suddenly become so guarded? Adam, sensing his father's confusion, continued, "Lily's not just a maid, Dad. She's something else. I don't know what, but I can feel it." Jacob knelt down beside Adam, looking into his son's eyes. "What do you mean, son? What do you know about her?" Adam bit his lip, clearly struggling to find the right words. Finally, he whispered, "I overheard her talking on the phone once. She was speaking to someone in a language I didn't understand, and she kept saying that she needed to protect her secret." Jacob was stunned. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. What could Lily possibly be hiding? His mind flashed back to the scar on her wrist and the letter she had hidden so quickly. It seemed like every time he thought he was getting closer to understanding Lily's true nature, she became even more of a mystery. "I'll talk to her," Jacob said, standing up. "I need to find out what's really going on. I can't let this go on any longer." Lily had always been a woman of few words, but Jacob had never felt the need to ask too many questions. He had hired her to help Adam, and she had done that more than he could have hoped for. But now, with this new information, Jacob felt he had no choice but to uncover the truth. He turned to Adam. "Go upstairs and give us some time to talk, okay?" Adam nodded, though he didn't seem convinced that his father was going to get to the bottom of it. He reluctantly headed up to his room, leaving Jacob and Lily alone in the living room. Lily stood by the window, her eyes staring out at the snow-covered yard. Jacob could see the tension in her shoulders, the way she was gripping the edge of the window ledge. He knew she was nervous, but he had to know the truth. "Lily," Jacob said, his voice firm but gentle, "I need to know what's going on. I can tell you're hiding something, and I can't let it go. What's in that letter? What secret are you keeping?" Lily slowly turned around, her eyes meeting Jacob's. She hesitated for a moment, and then slowly walked toward the table where the letter had been. She reached into her bag, pulled out the envelope, and handed it to him without a word. Jacob carefully opened the envelope, his fingers trembling slightly. Inside there was a single sheet of paper. It was written in formal language, the kind of letter that someone important would send. As Jacob read, his eyes widened in disbelief. The letter was from a lawyer, and it was addressed to Lily. It stated that she was the heir to a large fortune, a fortune that she had been running from for years. It also mentioned that her father, a wealthy business tycoon, had passed away recently, and that she was now the sole heir to his vast estate. Jacob was speechless. He had no idea that Lily was from such a powerful and wealthy family. She had never once mentioned anything about her past, and he certainly never would have guessed that she was hiding such an incredible secret. He looked up at Lily, his eyes full of shock. You're a billionaire's daughter?" Lily nodded slowly, her eyes filled with both sadness and regret. "I never wanted anyone to know. I came here to escape it all, to live a simple life. I didn't want to be defined by my family's wealth. I wanted to help Adam, not be seen as someone with money and status." Jacob sat down, trying to absorb everything he had just read. This was beyond anything he could have imagined. Lily had been living in his home, taking care of his son, and he had no idea that she was hiding such a huge part of her identity. But there was something more. The letter also mentioned that Lily's family had been searching for her ever since she left, and they would stop at nothing to bring her back into their world. It seemed that Lily's quiet life was about to be shattered once again. "I didn't want this," Lily said softly, tears welling in her eyes. "I just wanted to help Adam, to make a difference in his life. I never wanted you or anyone else to know who I really am." Jacob stood up and walked over to her. "I can't imagine what you've been through, Lily, but you can't keep running from your past forever. If they're looking for you, you have to face it." Lily shook her head. "I can't. I won't go back to that life. It's not who I am anymore." Just then, Adam came rushing down the stairs. "Dad, there's a car outside. It's a limo, and I think they're here for Lily." Jacob's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that her family had found her already? Jacob quickly rushed to the window, his breath catching in his throat. A sleek black limousine was parked at the end of the driveway. It was unmistakable. He could tell from the logo on the door that it was a car belonging to someone important. His eyes shifted to Lily, who had turned pale as a ghost. She was visibly shaking, her hands clutched tightly around the hem of her shirt. "They found me," she whispered. "I knew this day would come, but I didn't expect it so soon." Jacob turned to Adam, his face full of worry. "Stay here, Adam. Don't go outside. I need to talk to Lily first." Adam nodded, clearly nervous, but Jacob could see the worry in his son's eyes as he watched the scene unfold. Jacob didn't know what he was going to do next, but one thing was certain. Lily was in danger. Turning to Lily, he placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Lily, I'll figure this out. You don't have to face them alone." Lily shook her head. "You don't understand. If I go back, it's not just about the money. It's everything. The control, the pressure, the constant watching. They've always had power over me. I can't go back to that life. I don't want to." Jacob felt the weight of her words. He had never thought of Lily as someone tied to wealth or a powerful family. To him, she had always been just a kind and helpful person who cared for his son. Now standing here in his living room, he realized how much more complicated everything was. "I won't let them hurt you," Jacob said firmly. "We'll figure this out together." At that moment, there was a knock on the door. The sound echoed through the house, making the tension in the room even thicker. Lily flinched, but Jacob stood tall. He had made a promise to protect her, and he wasn't going to back down. "Stay behind me," he whispered to her before walking toward the door with determination. He opened the door to find two well-dressed men standing outside. One of them was holding a clipboard, while the other had a stern expression on his face. "Mr. Jacob Harris?" the man with the clipboard asked. "Yes, that's me," Jacob replied, trying to keep his voice steady. The man with the clipboard cleared his throat. "We've come on behalf of Ms. Lily Montgomery's family. We have been searching for her for quite some time, and we would like to speak with her." Jacob's heart sank. The name Montgomery wasn't just any ordinary name. It was a name tied to a massive fortune, powerful connections, and years of influence. He couldn't let Lily return to that life, not without her consent. "She's not here," Jacob said quickly, though he could see the disappointment in their eyes. "Lily is not available to speak with you." The men exchanged a glance, and the one holding the clipboard stepped forward. "We know she's here, Mr. Harris. We've been monitoring her whereabouts. Please, allow us to speak with her." Jacob's protective instincts flared. He didn't care who these men were or how powerful their connections were. He couldn't let them take Lily back into the life she was trying to escape. "I'm not going to let you take her," Jacob said firmly. "She has the right to choose her life, and that life is here, with us." Lily stepped forward, her eyes filled with fear and resolve. "I have made my choice," she said, her voice shaky but strong. "I don't want to go back. I'm not that person anymore." The men seemed taken aback by her response, but the one with the clipboard nodded slowly. "Understood, but Ms. Montgomery has obligations she cannot ignore. If she refuses to come with us, we will have to take legal action." Jacob felt the pressure mounting, but he didn't back down. "You're not taking her. I'll fight for her, no matter what." The two men exchanged another glance, this time with a hint of frustration, but they didn't argue further. They stepped back, as if to give Jacob and Lily some space. "We'll be in touch," the man with the clipboard said before turning to leave. As the men walked back to the limo, Jacob closed the door, feeling a sense of relief mixed with worry. The battle wasn't over. This was just the beginning. Lily collapsed onto the couch, her hands trembling in her lap. "I thought I was free," she whispered, "but now they'll never leave me alone." Jacob sat beside her, putting a comforting arm around her shoulders. "You're not alone, Lily. I won't let them take you. We'll figure out what to do next together." But Jacob couldn't help but wonder, if Lily's family had already found her, how much longer could they stay hidden from them? And more importantly, what kind of danger were they really in? As Jacob sat beside Lily, his mind raced. He couldn't shake the feeling that things were spiraling out of control. But the look in Lily's eyes, filled with both fear and hope, kept him from showing any sign of doubt. He had promised to protect her, and he would keep that promise no matter what. Lily wiped her tears, taking a deep breath. "I don't know what to do," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I can't go back to that life. I just, I want to be normal, to live without fear." Jacob nodded. "We'll figure this out. But first, we need to be smart." The following days were tense. Jacob and Lily stayed in close contact, avoiding unnecessary attention. The next time the men came to the house, Jacob was ready. He had spoken to a lawyer and made sure his rights were clear. Lily had every right to decide where she wanted to live. Her family couldn't force her back without her consent. On the morning of the confrontation, Jacob stood firm at the door, ready to face the men who would try to take Lily away again. But this time, something had changed in the air. The two men from before arrived, but this time, they didn't demand entry or make threats. They were different, more formal, less confrontational. "Mr. Harris," the man with the clipboard began, "we've spoken to Miss Montgomery's family at length, and we understand her decision to stay here. She's made it clear that she doesn't want to return." Jacob's heart skipped a beat. "So, you're leaving her alone?" The man sighed. "We don't want to cause any more trouble, but there's something you should know." He paused, glancing at the other man before continuing. "Lily Montgomery is not just anyone. Her family's company, Montgomery Enterprises, is one of the largest in the world, and she is set to inherit a vast fortune." Jacob raised an eyebrow, feeling a mix of confusion and unease. "So, what does that have to do with anything?" The man continued, "You see, her family has made an agreement. If Lily doesn't return, they'll disinherit her, and she'll be left with nothing. No money, no name, no future in that world." Lily's face went pale. "So you're saying I'll be disowned if I stay?" The man nodded grimly. "Unfortunately, yes." Jacob took a deep breath, trying to remain calm. "Then she has made her choice. She wants to be free of all of that. She doesn't need the money, the fame, or the family legacy. She just wants to live her life." The men stood silent for a moment. They seemed to be weighing their options. Finally, the first man spoke. "We can't force her to go back, Mr. Harris, but we are required to inform you that if she remains, her future with her family will be gone for good." Lily stood tall now, her eyes filled with newfound strength. "I've already made my decision," she said firmly. "I may be giving up everything, but I'm choosing to be myself. That's worth more than anything they could ever offer me." The men nodded slowly, clearly respecting her decision. They turned to leave, not saying another word. But before they walked away, the man with the clipboard glanced back at Jacob. "We'll honor her decision, but understand this isn't over. Your life with her will never be easy. There will be challenges ahead." Jacob met his gaze with determination. "We'll face whatever comes, together." As the men left, Jacob turned to Lily, his heart full of admiration. "You're incredibly brave, you know that?" Lily smiled softly, though it was tinged with sadness. "I just want to be free, Jacob, and now I have a chance." The days that followed were difficult. Lily faced the harsh reality of her choice. She lost the wealth and the family she had once known. But she gained something even more valuable, a life filled with love, freedom, and true happiness. As for Jacob, he stood by her every step of the way. The two of them built a life together in a small, peaceful town. They didn't have much, but they had each other, and that was enough. Lily may have lost her fortune, but she gained something far more priceless, the ability to live her life on her own terms. And in the end, that made all the difference. Thank you for joining us on this Heartline story. The choices we make can change our lives forever. Will Lily find freedom or regret her decisions? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.